where he's coming from too. I mean, I said it earlier. We're talking over $4 billion. $4 billion that would be lost without college football. So, and that's just in the top 5. I mean, they're going to find a way to play college football, and if that means doing it with no fans, then at least you have the sport and you still have some money coming in. I know it's not the same. It's not going to be completely the same without butts in the seats. I get that, but you have to have it. It's not a question anymore to me. It's something that 100% has to be done, and especially if by this time that they say we're going to do it, testing is available. If there's resources available, that changes the game even more. There, to me, would be no excuse not to have it.
But that's where I agree. I think with the sentiment of Feinbaum, if you're taking that step, if you are having these amateurs play the sport simply to get money, the economy started back up. It doesn't matter that there's you don't have the tailgating, you don't have the college atmosphere, then you are essentially taking a very dangerous step towards professionalism.
Yeah, but you can't disagree that what the hit might implicate with no college football for these schools.
I understand that, but at the same time, and again, I that's what I've said. I agree with the statement from Gundy, the fact that you need it for the economy. But at the same time, are you risking amateurism? Are you risking liabilities if these kids come down with illness? We got to keep remembering. We need to remember these are not professional athletes at the college level, and I think that's what a lot of people and a lot of fans don't realize. These are amateurs.
Look, to me, no. But if you have the testing available again, then yeah, I think that's almost a risk that you take. That's what's going to happen with all this. When there is an all clear and you get the issue like that's going on in Los Angeles right now, where governors and mayors still say, no, you can't do anything, there is a risk of going out in the future in public no matter what now. I mean, there always was with other things, but now there's always going to be a risk. But college football can never just disappear. It's one of those things where if you have the resources and it's safe enough to even attempt it, at this point you have to take in a little teaspoon of risk with launching the season. And people are going to be like, well, it's all for a money standpoint. What are you talking about? Yeah, do you want the university to have sports ever again? I mean, how many times are we going to say that football funds literally everything? Everything.
Right. But as I just said, at the same time, if one of your athletes then comes down, tested positive, do you not have you are then liable? Because again, there's no union in place, no collective bargaining in place where that parent can say, you sacrificed my son.
So then here's what you do.
And then all that money you just gained, you lose.
So what you do is you have them sign a liability form or a waiver.
If you're an athlete, would you consider doing that? Because again, these are amateur athletes. These are amateurs.
I know that, yeah. And yes, if I was an athlete, and I believe most of them probably would consent to that. If they say, look, you can go out here and play football, you just have to sign this consent form to not hold us liable if something does happen, which we don't think. And then how much, a lot of that was going to end up relying on the players, which has been brought up a lot too. If they say, hey, look, we can play football, but you have to stay, it's kind of like the MLB thing. It's from field to wherever you're being sequestered. And that a lot of that relies on them. Hey, you cannot go do all this other stuff. You have to take that seriously. But if you went up to some of these players and said, look, you signed this waiver right here, you signed this liability form to not sue us if something goes wrong. And I think a big majority of players would do it just to get back to playing. I think that's where a lot of them are. They want to get back out there on the field. And if that's what it takes, then yeah, I understand. Hey, they're not pros. They're not pros. If they were pros, we wouldn't be having a discussion about not having a season at all. But if that's what it ends up taking to keep the money flowing in these universities, to keep everything afloat at some of these universities, then so be it.
But then, you're also recognizing the fact that you are utilizing amateurs for your own benefit for money, which then goes back to the risk of, do the athletes then start realizing, hey, we deserve a piece of this? If you're going to make us sign this waiver, then we should have more money or more value if we are so important to bringing money back to the university and to the economy.
If that's the case and that's what they end up saying, then don't play. Just don't.
And that's again, I think that's what Feinbaum's saying is there's at some point these athletes are finally going to realize, and again, we saw it a couple years ago with Northwestern football team trying to unionize, and if you risk this, this could be what is that tipping point. If you say you have to sign this, otherwise you don't get to play.
I think it's a chance that you end up taking, though. I really think that universities would go in and then they would do something as drastic as handing them liability forms